What's going on, guys? So today I am going to do a little video on the next greatest thing since sliced bread for our drones, and the Mavic 3 especially, is the addition of cruise control. So cruise control is super badass, and it may seem very simple, which it is, but it's also very complex if you want to get to creating a little bit more cooler movements. You can kind of cheat a little bit, and I'll show you a little bit how you do that. So just another thing too, I went and took this out to test the new, here, let me get down a little bit. This whole zone is echoey. It's like a little auditorium. But anyway, I went out and flew the Mavic 3 testing the night modes. So that's another addition of the firmware. They introduced night modes with higher ISOs, so ISO 6400, ISO 12800. I did a little longer extended edit, just showing comparison video. And to me, hands down, the 6400 ISO in night mode is the way to go if you're shooting anything that you really care about at night. I was editing on my 5K iMac with the calibrated display, and the normal footage was shot in auto for whatever that's worth, and the other 12,800 footage just looked like it was falling apart. But just so you guys know, a little tip, watch the videos. I don't even know how, tell me how to put the link up there when they always point up to, I don't know how you add a link into your video. But regardless, let me know, and let's get into cruise control. So it's windy out today. It's probably one of the last nicer days here. We're supposed to get really cold as of tomorrow or the next day. So I'm gonna go and do this, and then I'm gonna go pick up my mom and get her some last warmer sunshine, even though it's windy out, and that's it. So cruise control is a very cool feature on the Mavic 3. First off, you need to make sure you have everything updated. So have the latest app, have your RC or your controller updated, the latest firmware, have the drone updated to the latest firmware as well. And do not drink coffee and then try to update your firmware like I just did. I was super excited, wired, trying to get this thing going, and took like a half hour to update this controller with my hotspot on my phone. So if you're going to use cruise control, you're gonna need to do one thing first. You're gonna need to go into the settings. Let me start a screen recording here on this little RC. There we go, we are recording the screen. You need to go to settings, which are the top 3 buttons in the upper right-hand corner. To press that little guy, boom. And then you need to go into control, and you go to button customization. So I'm gonna click button customization. I already have this set, but it won't be defaulted here. And you click that, and normally it says, I think it says follow FPV, or it says recenter gimbal, something like that. But we wanna go ahead and select cruise control. Boom. Now the C1 button, this is C1 on the left side when you're holding it, C2's on the right. You're gonna wanna keep one of them for cruise control, and then the other one, maybe do the recenter tilt down gimbal, or if I'm flying at night, what I think is really a good little user tip, go to auxiliary light. And that way this thing throws out a nice light, and you can clearly see the drone while it's in the air, along with your firehouse strobe or whatever you may put on the top of it. But for now, it's not dark, so I'm gonna hit recenter tilt down gimbal. But this is one of the key things you need to do in order to utilize cruise control. You need to customize the C1 button. And on this little guy, what you're gonna customize is the function button. So you're gonna do the same thing in the Fly app. You're gonna go down, go in the button customization, but they're gonna give you the option to press this. So if you're flying, say you're going down or up in altitude, while you're pushing up on the stick, you're gonna go and hit boom once, the function button. Let me not swear, this is not X-rated. While you're pushing up on the left stick, you're gonna depress the function button, boom, and then that will enable cruise control. So if you wanna break out of cruise control quickly, a little user tip 2, you can go and slide this into another flight mode, and it will break out of cruise control. So there's that. But let's go ahead and get the Mavic 3 in the air quickly, and I will show you a teeny bit. So we're gonna start the props. Boom. Get this guy out of the way. So I'm gonna depress the 3 dots in the top upper right-hand corner. I'm gonna click that little arrow, and I'm gonna make sure in safety I have obstacle avoidance on. If I ever don't want to have obstacle avoidance on, I can simply go into sport mode where it's automatically disabled, as you see here. So right now, I'm gonna get higher a little bit, but I wanna show you something simple. So say I wanna do a little movement back. So just going back on the right stick, I can depress that C1 button, boom, and it will enable cruise control. Now I have my fingers off everything, and I'm just pushing up now, gaining altitude with the other stick, with the left stick. So boom, and that's one way of utilizing it. If I want to break out of it really quickly, I can hit that little X, which sometimes is tricky, but there we go. So it's hard to see the drone right now because I'm looking right into the full sun, even with my glasses. Where are you? There we are. So now I'm gonna cruise down a little bit. Okay, let me get above, there's trees and stuff, so I do not want to crash the drone. My concentration, I do not like flying complex when I'm doing these videos because I can't focus 110%. But I want to show you something and how this is super cool. So say we do a manual orbit, right? I'm going to go and do an orbit to the right. I would be pushing on my right stick to the right, and as I go in that motion, start the orbit, boom, now watch. Hit the C1 button. Now I'm doing an orbit, and guess what? I can push up on the left stick, gain altitude, push back on the right stick, and just kind of cruise. I'm going a little too fast. Wait, hold on, let me get out of this. It's a little too crazy. So I switched this actual physical button on the controller to break out of cruise control. But let me try that one more time. Do a little slower orbit maybe. Come on. There's some big trees that are like right there. So let me go ahead and try one more time. So I'm gonna do a little orbit, pushing on my right stick, push on my left stick, kind of get that going. Maybe a little bit slower. Let's go, come on. It's windy, as I said. And now I'm just gonna go ahead when I kind of get it, hit that button, and now it's doing an orbit essentially. And now if I want to, I could push up on the left stick. Let's see if we can gain altitude. It's not doing a great job, but you see it can actually do and hold multiple movements, which is really cool. So say like I'm gonna push up on the left stick again, gain more altitude. There, maybe like that. If I used a few seconds of that, that would be kind of cool footage. But you can see I'm not doing everything. I'm just raising altitude right now with the left stick by pushing up, and I'm pushing down on the right stick going backwards. Okay, so now I'm gonna stop because I'm above 400 feet. Let me lower quickly. And one of the great things, if you wanna lower with the Mavic 3, because it's so aerodynamic with the long little slender legs, put it in the sport mode and watch. Boom, it drops so quickly. It's one of the cooler little features, but you got to throw it in the sport mode for it to really descend. So if you ever get into a situation where there's a helicopter or something, put it in the sport mode and just descend and drop really quickly. So another little user pro tip. And again, sport mode is great for getting back from point A to B, just being efficient, making sure you know no obstacle avoidance is enabled, and you got to watch out for anything in its way. But there's not too much to talk about other than that cruise control is super badass. So you need to make sure you customize the button. You need to make sure everything's updated, and the sky really is the limit. So if we want to go ahead and, let's see, let me go where I'm at. Hold on a second. I'm going to cruise back by where I am. Put on my sunglasses because it's really freaking bright right now. Where are you, Mavic 3? This is not the classic. And I do that a lot of times with this controller. I somehow depress something. That's why I'm not a huge fan of smart controllers all the time. I'm just so accustomed to flying with my phones, even though I know there's pros and cons attached to that too. So here we go, cruising. Okay, so say I want to get a little video of just me. I'm going to go really low to the concrete without actually, there we go. So let's see, maybe I can do like a low orbit of me doing this. So I'm going to throw it out of sport mode so I make sure I have obstacle avoidance enabled. And since I'm doing a tight shot like this, I don't want it going fast. I want to do a really slow movement. So now I'm going to go and do a little orbit. I'll actually start recording because I could probably use this as little B-roll for maybe the opening. Depress the C1 button, and now it's cruising. And I can just wave and say hello and make sure it doesn't hit a light pole. And it's on its way. But if I want to break out of it, hit that little button, boom, and good to go. But there's a lot of creative ways to utilize cruise control, whether it's going up in altitude, doing a little complex orbit movement, play around and create. Let me see, hold on a second. So what else can we do? Maybe I can go the opposite way and see. Oh, I don't know why I do that a lot too. Wait, let me kind of center. Now I'm going to hit the C1 button. There we go. And now I can raise up in altitude. Oh, it has sensed something. Okay, there we go. So there's a little concrete thing right over here. I'll show you. So it was stopping because of that. I'm hoping this helps just at least familiarize yourself with cruise control and how powerful it is to fly even cinematically. So it's not something just to fly one axis movements. It will help take care of that, but you can actually go, as I said, and do a couple axis movements and then hit. So right now, like, let me go ahead and try one more. Hold on, let me do it one more time. I'll do a little orbit to the right, like this. So I'm gonna push to the right stick, to the right. Oop. Hit C1, and oh crap, there we go. And now we're good to go. I can see where it's going. Maybe I can run back here. Where are you? See? Can do jumping jacks or something. I can go up with the camera now. So it's doing its own thing in cruise control. Raise the camera up a little bit. Do a little reveal. I mean, look how cool that is. Completely filming myself, getting some cool B-roll. And it's doing an orbit in cruise control. So a whole other level. Screw the little quick shot modes, in my opinion. Cruise control is where it's at, or flying manually. If you can do both, first off, manually is always going to be the best way, but cruise control is definitely awesome and my new favorite feature for the Mavic 3. Peace, guys. Aloha. Hit the subscribe button, thumbs up, and have a good day. Bye. Love you.